As the months-long conflict finally comes to an end and a new chapter begins for Iran under Mojtaba Khamenei's leadership, fresh questions are emerging over the final wishes and burial plans of former Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. The late Supreme Leader's reported will has not been made public, fueling speculation over who controls his political legacy, personal instructions, and the decisions surrounding his final resting place. The man who shaped Iran's political and ideological direction for decades has left behind a legacy that continues to dominate the country, even as several questions about his final arrangements remain unanswered. With the war now over and Mojtaba Khamenei emerging victorious, attention is increasingly shifting toward Iran's future leadership and how the new era will manage the powerful legacy left behind by Ali Khamenei. Iranian cleric Ahmad Alamolhoda said that Ali Khamenei's will has not been made public, leaving several questions unanswered about the late Supreme Leader's final wishes. Alamolhoda stated that Khamenei's reported will is believed to be in the possession of his sons, according to reports, though no official details have been released. The Iranian cleric also said he personally had no information regarding the contents of Khamenei's final testament, as reported by Iran International. His comments came amid growing speculation and public discussion surrounding the burial plans of the former Iranian Supreme Leader. Alamolhoda noted that residents of Mashhad generally prefer to be buried in their home city, adding another dimension to the ongoing debate. He also recalled that Khamenei had previously spoken about a burial plot that had been designated for him by cleric Abbas Vaiz Tabasi. However, Alamolhoda clarified that Khamenei never explicitly stated that he would definitely be buried at that particular site. Iran's Commemoration Committee has announced a multi-city funeral program for Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, laying out an extended series of ceremonies across the country. The program begins with public farewell ceremonies in Tehran on July 4th and July 5th, when large crowds are expected to gather for final respects in the capital. According to Iranian media, these first events will be held at the Imam Khomeini Grand Mosalla Complex, a site often used for the country's most important political and religious gatherings. A major funeral procession is scheduled to wind through Tehran on July 6th, followed by a second mass procession in the clerical city of Qom on July 7th, extending the mourning over several days. The final ritual will take place on July 9th in Mashhad, where Khamenei is to be buried at the Imam Reza Shrine, a symbolic resting place that will draw pilgrims and political attention for years to come. The announcement comes months after the February 28 U.S.-Israeli strike that killed Khamenei, tying the funeral schedule directly back to the attack that triggered the latest phase of this crisis. Iran's state-affiliated Mehr News has published what it says is a 14-point draft agreement outlining a potential framework for a US-Iran deal. According to Mehr, the reported draft begins with an immediate and permanent end to military operations across multiple fronts in the region. The United States would pledge not to interfere in Iran's internal affairs under the reported framework. Washington would formally recognize and respect the sovereignty of the Islamic Republic. The U.S. would lift its maritime blockade measures within 30 days of the agreement taking effect. American forces deployed around Iran's periphery would be withdrawn as part of the proposed arrangement. The Strait of Hormuz would reopen under security and transit arrangements coordinated by Iran. The draft also reportedly includes the release of $24 billion in frozen Iranian funds. These assets would be unlocked during a 60-day negotiation and implementation period. Half of the funds would reportedly become available to Tehran before formal talks begin. The reported concessions would represent a major economic lifeline for sanctions-hit Iran if implemented. The leak surfaced shortly after Donald Trump announced on June 14 that a US-Iran agreement had been completed. The Strait of Hormuz is expected to reopen within days after the US-Iran peace deal is signed, but normal traffic will not resume overnight. Experts warn that a full return to normal operations could take a long time, as safety checks and demining must be completed first. Commercial traffic may stay restricted because of the potential presence of naval mines that could still threaten tankers and cargo ships. Specialists estimate that clearing the strait and setting up safe navigation lanes could take around 40 to 50 days of intensive work. Minesweepers and underwater drones are likely to be deployed to inspect key choke points and secure the main shipping corridors. This process would gradually help shipping companies, insurers, and energy firms regain confidence in using the route at scale. Nearly 20% of global energy supplies transited Hormuz before the war. Iran repeatedly threatened to use sea mines to assert control over the Strait. Even a small number of naval mines can threaten tankers and cargo ships. Tehran has not confirmed laying mines, but the US says the threat remains real. Washington claims it targeted Iranian vessels involved in suspected mine-laying missions. Germany's Navy said US and UK intel reported mines at 4 Strait locations. Uncertainty still remains a major risk for ship traffic in Hormuz. Oil tankers carry cargoes worth hundreds of millions of dollars through Hormuz. Shipping body BIMCO warned it is still risky for vessels to freely transit. The shipping body said mine threats remain an immediate and long-term concern. Industry experts stress that verified mine-free corridors must be established first. Shipping executives say one mine strike could severely disrupt global trade routes. Global shipping firms are closely monitoring security conditions. With shipping risks still high, Western navies are already preparing for a Hormuz clearance phase once the ceasefire and deal take hold. Britain, France, and Germany have deployed warships and minesweepers that could be used in any multinational clearance effort. Despite repeated airstrikes, Iran is still believed to possess a significant stockpile of naval mines, according to expert assessments. The UN shipping chief has welcomed the Hormuz reopening plan, but also urged caution about promising an overly quick timeline. The US and Iran are expected to sign a peace agreement on June 19 in Switzerland, according to reports that cite officials and media on both sides. The specific details of the deal have not yet been published in full, with only selective leaks and brief hints emerging from Washington and Tehran. A 60-day round of talks on Iran's nuclear program is expected to begin after signing, alongside US compensation measures outlined in the framework. With so much still undisclosed, speculation is rife over what else the US-Iran peace agreement might include beyond nukes, Hormuz access, and financial relief. US may halt oil sanctions under proposed agreement. Deal could include a $300 billion reconstruction package. $24 billion in frozen funds may be released. Iran's deputy FM says talks will start only after frozen assets are unlocked. US officials reject claim that asset release is a precondition for talks. Reports suggest US agreed to drop Iran's missile program from negotiations. Iran's support for Hezbollah, Houthis, Hamas said to be off the agenda. If true, deal would narrow talks to nuclear and sanctions issues. Tehran also wants UN Security Council restrictions lifted or cancelled. Reopening Hormuz is expected to be a key pillar of the US-Iran understanding. Trump says Strait of Hormuz will reopen freely, without any transit tolls. Iranian media says Gulf shipping will be regulated with Oman, not fully unrestricted. Next phase of negotiations to focus heavily on Iran's nuclear program. Reports say Trump accepted uranium destruction or dilution inside Iran. Any uranium reduction would reportedly take place under UN supervision. Trump signals shift from zero enrichment demand to tightly capped enrichment. Trump says Iran will be allowed only low-level uranium enrichment under deal. US seeks strict limits to ensure Iran's program remains non-military. Trump vows Iran will never exceed agreed enrichment thresholds. White House says all 12 tons of enriched uranium must be removed or diluted. Trump proposes joint US-Iran effort to excavate and process uranium stockpile. Washington seeks near-immediate access to Iranian nuclear facilities. US official claims final deal aims to dismantle Iran's nuclear program. Tehran has not publicly endorsed Trump's proposed inspection framework. Mediator Pakistan says ceasefire deal includes Lebanon. Tehran claims Lebanon clause was a key condition for restraining retaliation. Iran demanded Israeli withdrawal from southern Lebanon. Israel rejected any obligation under the Lebanon provisions of the deal. Netanyahu told Trump Israel is not bound by Iran-US-Lebanon understandings. Israeli PM insists IDF forces will remain in current positions in Lebanon. Lebanon front could become first major test of any US-Iran accord.